السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ثم أما بعد, we'll continue our class in the explanation of the treaty or the book Al-Aqidah Al-Waasitiyyah by Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala. And we're still in the introduction by the author rahimahullah, where he, may Allah have mercy on him, he said, أما بعد, as for what comes next, فهذا اعتقاد الفرقة الناجية المنصورة, and this is the belief of the saved and the victorious sect. وقد تكلمنا, and we already spoke about this in the previous class. قال, the saved and victorious sect, until the day of judgment, or until the hour comes. And this comes from the hadith, or one of the narrations of the hadith of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, what means that there will never cease to be a group of my nation that is superior upon the truth until the hour comes, meaning until the day of judgment, or until the last day. And the people of knowledge, they said, how do we reconcile between the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that this is the belief of the saved sect and victorious sect until the last day, and the statement of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the last day does not come except upon the worst of people. The last day, or the day of judgment, does not come except upon the worst of people. And likewise, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that the hour will not come, the last day will not come until it is not said Allah, Allah, meaning that people do not mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the answer to that is one of two things. As the people of knowledge, they mentioned that the answer is one of two things. Either that this is the saved sect and the victorious sect until the last day, until the day of judgment, meaning the last day, or meaning that they will never cease to be superior until a time that is very close to the last day, until a day or a time that is very close to the last day. And in general, in Arabic, we find that it is acceptable, and actually it is used frequently, to name something with something else that is very close to it. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَآتُوا الْيَتَامَى أَمْوَالَهُمْ. The literal meaning is give the orphans their wealth. And of course, this verse is in regards to after an orphan reaches the age of puberty. And it is known that from the hadith that after a child, or after an orphan reaches the age of puberty, he no longer is called an orphan. Islamically, when a child who had lost his father reaches the age of puberty, he no longer is called an orphan, and rather he is an adult at that point religiously. And therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yet called him an orphan and give the orphans their wealth. And of course, their wealth is given to them after they reach the age of puberty. Like, how do we reconcile? Because it's so close to it. Same thing, same concept. Barakallahu feekum. Because it is very close to it that the child has just reached the age of puberty. Therefore, he is called as if he is still an orphan, although he no longer is an orphan. He's an adult, and an adult cannot be an orphan, as was mentioned, and as in the hadith, there is no state of being an orphan after the age of puberty in the authentic hadith, and therefore he no longer is considered an orphan. But yet, because he was just recently an orphan and became an adult, he was called an orphan. And similarly, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Al-Maghrib is the odd number of units of prayer of the daytime. Although we know that the Maghrib prayer is after sunset, so it's no longer a daytime. in the daytime. It's not in the daytime, and rather it is a part of the night. After sunset, it is a part of the night. But because it's very close to the day, it's just after the sunset is when the time of Maghrib is. Therefore, it's very close to the daytime. Therefore, it was called that it is the witr, the odd number of units of the daytime. For this reason, and likewise here, barakallahu fikum, that they are the Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah, this victorious sect. This victorious sect continues to be superior until the last day, meaning until a time that is very close, a time that is very close to the last day. And this is one way to reconcile between the hadith. Another way is that they continue to be superior upon the truth until their last day. Until their last day. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the wind that takes the souls of the believers before the last day. Before the last day. And then after that, there will be no believers. And so they continue to be superior until that day that is theirs. This is their last day, and they will all die. Now, and then the other, rahimahullah, he said, Ahlus Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the people of Sunnah and the people of Jama'ah. Sunnah, as we mentioned before in previous classes, that Sunnah is the way of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam that is opposed by the ways of the people of innovation. And it has foundations. Sunnah has foundations. And by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His bounty, we went over the foundations of Sunnah in the explanation, the lengthy explanation that we went over by the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us. We went over the treaty, Usul al-Sunnah, the foundations of Sunnah, by the Imam of Ahlul Sunnah, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, rahimahullah. We went over them in a series of classes by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His bounty upon us. And so, As-Sunnah, it has foundations. And Ahlul Sunnah are those who hold on to those foundations of Sunnah. And this is, so the author, rahimahullah, is going to mention the belief and the faith of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the people of Sunnah. And they are called the people of Sunnah because they hold on to the Sunnah, to the way of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they stay away from the innovations. And in opposition to Ahlul Sunnah are the people of innovation. In opposition, and other than the people of Sunnah, are the people of desires and the people of falsehood. And they are also Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah, the people, they are called Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, meaning that they are united upon the Sunnah. Al Jama'ah comes from unity, that they are mujtami'een, they are united upon the truth. And this is the way of Ahlul Sunnah, that they are united upon the truth. Yes, there might be differing. Some might say, how could they be united upon the truth when we see that there is some differing between them? And they might have difference of opinions in regards to matters, and they might have, they might become, they might differ and have become separated. We say, barakallahu fikum, that they are upon the Jama'ah, upon the Sunnah and the Jama'ah, they are united upon one thing. Yes, they might differ, but we find that their foundations and their Aqidah, their belief, their faith, their foundations is one. And also, they are united upon following the companions, may Allah be pleased with them. This was mentioned by Shaykh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, Hafidhullah, may Allah have mercy on him, may Allah preserve him, protect him, and have mercy on all of us and him. Shaykh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, Hafidhullah, he mentioned in a conference, in a series of lectures, where he explained the methodology of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He mentioned that one of their names is Al-Jama'ah because they are united, they are mujtami'een, they are united upon that which the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, were upon. And this is the reality of the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He mentioned Al-Muhajirin wal-Ansar, wal-Muhajirun wal-Ansar, and the immigrants and the supporters. Those are the companions, may Allah be pleased with them. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوهُمْ بِإِحْسَانٍ, and those who follow them upon perfection. رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ, Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Him, and He prepared for them gardens underneath which rivers flow. And so, Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are united upon the truth. Yes, they might differ in regards to certain matters, but their aqidah is one, their belief is one. And anyone who opposes this aqidah, this belief, this system, this faith that the people of Sunnah are upon, then he is not from the people of Sunnah. Like we mentioned, and like we said before, we should understand and know the foundations of the Sunnah and the foundations and the principles of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because anyone who opposes them, then he is not amongst them. Yes, one might fall into mistakes because he's ignorant. The person is excused for his ignorance, and other than that, but we should know that if one opposes those foundations intentionally with knowledge, and he goes against those foundations of Sunnah, then he is not considered to be from the people of Sunnah. From the likes of Al-Khawarij, Wal-Murji'ah, Wal-Mu'tazila, Wal-Jahmiyyah, Wal-Qadariyah, Wal-Jabriyyah, and other than them, those who have anything that goes against the way of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they are not considered from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And those are some of the foundations of the ways of the innovations that we just mentioned. Those are some of the foundations of the ways of innovations. And anyone who takes those foundations and in opposition to the truth and to the way of Sunnah, then he is not considered to be from Ahlus Sunnah. An example of this is, for example, Al-Ibadiyyah, this group that is upon the way of Al-Mu'tazila wal-Khawarij. They are not considered Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Why? Because they oppose the Sunnah. They oppose the way of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. And similarly, for example, Imam Al-Albani rahimahullah was asked about Al-Ikhwan Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood movement. Are they from Ahlus Sunnah? And he rahimahullah, he said they oppose the Sunnah. They actually oppose the Sunnah. They go against the Sunnah. How do we call them? How would we call them from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah? And similarly, Shaykh bin Baz rahimahullah was asked about Tabligh, Jama'at Tabligh, the group that is known of, that is called Jama'at al-Da'wah or Jama'at Tabligh, Tablighi Jama'at, and other than this, from the known names that they take. And likewise was asked about Al-Ikhwan Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood. Are they from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah? And he rahimahullah, he said that they are considered to be with the 72 sects, meaning the sects that deserve the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that they are not from Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah because they oppose the way of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. But as we always hear from our Shaykh Abdul Rahman Umaysan, hafidhahullah, he always mentions this, that what we should care more about than the names of those groups is their description, meaning the descriptions of what is an opposition of the haqq, of the truth, of the way of the Sunnah. Because those same groups might come with other names. They might start naming themselves with other names. So what is important is not to know the names of those groups, but rather to know the foundations of Sunnah and what opposes the foundations of Sunnah and the way of the haqq, everything that opposes the haqq, in order to know who are the people of the haqq, who are those people of the truth, and who are the people of falsehood, so that we adhere to the haqq, to the truth, and we stay away and stay safe and safeguard our religion from the ways of the falsehood. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to steadfast upon His religion and to steadfast upon singling out Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and upon the way of the Sunnah, and to keep us away and save us from all of the misguidances, from the innovations and the polytheism, the disbelief, and all of the forms of misguidance. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه